Students, welcome to another Mr. Ness screencast. Today's aim is population pyramids, and here are your objectives. Please pause the video, look these questions over, and get ready to copy some vocab terms and take some notes. I'm going to move quickly today because we have a lot to cover, and I'm going to try and get this done in 10 minutes or less. Today, you're going to learn how to read a special type of graph that looks like this. It's called a population pyramid. And your first term is sex ratio. The sex ratio is the proportion of males to females in a population. Population pyramids show sex ratios because they are really two separate graphs, one for each sex. And I like to think of population pyramids as two bar graphs which have been flipped on their side. Take a look at this pyramid of the United States. Moving up and down the y-axis, we see different age brackets, usually in intervals of 5 years. And on the x-axis, we see the total number of people in the population that are in each bracket. But here we have two graphs, one on each side. On the left, we have the total number of males in each age bracket, and on the right, we have the total number of females in each bracket. Let's look at an example. Take this graph of the United States in 2009, and let's look at the 15 to 20-year-old age bracket. That's right here. On the x-axis, we see that on the left, there are about 11 million males, and on the right, there are about 11 million females. So, in 2009, in the United States, there were about 11 million 15 to 20-year-old boys and 11 million 15 to 20-year-old girls. Okay, pause the video and think about this question. In 2009, in the US, how many 80 to 85-year-old men were there and how many 80 to 85-year-old women were there? Take a look. If you said about 3 million, you were correct. Here we are at our 85 bracket, and we see that there's a little bit less than 3 million men and a little bit more than 3 million women in that age bracket. All right, be careful. Sometimes the x-axis of a population pyramid shows the total number of people in each age bracket. That's like the one we just looked at. But other times it shows the percentage of the population, percentage of the total population that is in each age bracket. For example, this pyramid on the right shows that in the 15 to 20-year-old bracket, there were about 3.5% of the total population were men, and about 3.5% of the total population were women. Both of these pyramids are giving the same information, but they're expressing it in a slightly different way. Pay attention when you see these graphs to the x-axis. Is it giving you the total population or the percentage of the total population? Now, let's look at some common population pyramid shapes that correspond with countries in each stage of the demographic transition. As we look at these pyramid shapes, I want you to focus on the bottom 2/3 of the age brackets. In every country, no matter how developed, people die of old age. So the upper age brackets, like 75 and above, are always going to have a similar shape. It's the lower age brackets, excuse me, from about 0 to 75 years that are the important ones. And that's what we want to focus on. Okay, let's look at stage 2. The population pyramid of a stage 2 country is a pyramid with a wide base. The overall shape is a pyramid, it's triangular, but the widest age brackets are at the very bottom, at the base. So, countries in stage 2 have a lot more young people than old people. There are a lot of baby boys and a lot of baby girls. But as we move up in age, there are fewer and fewer people in each bracket. And that means that a lot of babies are being born, but before they get to age 5, some of them die. And of those that make it to age 5, some of them die before they get to age 10. And of those that make it to age 10, some die before they get to 15, and so on and so on. Anytime the bars move inwards as you go upwards in age, that means people are dying. In a country like Niger, birth rates are high, which is why the base is so wide. But healthcare is poor, and many children die at a young age, and that's why the base slants inwards like a pyramid. If you draw lines from the base to the higher age brackets, you'll see this inward slant. All right, now let's look at stage 3. The shape of a stage 3 pyramid is a cylindrical base with a pyramid on top. Unlike Niger, where the base slanted inwards, the base of a stage 3 country, and if you draw the lines you'll see, is straight on the sides. I call this a cylindrical base. That means that in a stage 3 country, babies don't die as they get older, they're surviving. We don't see any inward slant. Remember, that inward slant meant people are dying. We don't see that until we get to about age 30, which is when some people start to die. So, unlike stage 2, where the base slanted in immediately, remember that? In stage 3, we have straight sides at the bottom. That's the cylindrical base. And then as we get into the older age brackets, we start to see that slant inwards that creates the pyramid. Stage 4, cylinder with a bulging middle. At the bottom, we have straight sides. Look at these lines here. But as we get into the Middle Ages, instead of slanting inwards, like in stage 3, they slant outwards. That's the bulge. And this outward slant means that as time passed, women started to have fewer children. So look at the pyramid of the US, a stage 4 country, and notice how between the 20 to 25 bracket and the 20 to 30 bracket, 25 to 30 bracket, we see this bulge outwards. And that's because about 25 to 30 years ago, women were having more children than they did 20 to 25 years ago. So, in the year 2000, which is about 20 years ago, women in America had fewer children than they had in the year 1995, 5 years before. In other words, between 1995 and 2000, the birth rate in the US went down. Remember, always focus on the bottom 2/3 of the pyramid. The pyramid at the very top of the shape is not that important. Don't let it confuse you. The last stage is stage 5, and the shape is called cylinder with an upside-down pyramid base. Unlike stage 4, where the bottom age brackets had fairly straight edges, in a stage 5 pyramid, the bottom brackets slant outwards from the base, like an upside-down pyramid. And then they have straight sides in the Middle Ages. That's our cylinder on top. This is what it looks like when birth rates continue falling and each generation is having fewer babies than the previous one. Contrast stage 5 shape on the right with the stage 4 shape on the left, which you just looked at a minute ago. Stage 5, cylinder with an upside-down pyramid. Stage 4, cylinder with a bulging middle. In stage 4, the bottom years are straight. See this straight line. But in stage 5, the bottom years are slanting outwards. All right, the last term today is dependency ratio, and this is the number of people not of working age divided by the number of people that are of working age. And we define working age as 15 to 64. So this ratio gives us the total number of very young and very old people who can't work divided by the number of people who can work. This number is important because working people pay the taxes that are needed to support the non-working people. There are two types of dependency ratios, the child dependency ratio and the elder dependency ratio, or old age. The child dependency ratio is the number of children under the age of 15 divided by the number of people of working age, 15 to 64. And the old age dependency ratio is the number of people who are 65 or older divided by the number of people of working age, 15 to 64. A high child dependency ratio means that working age adults are having to work and pay taxes to support a large number of children. And a high old age dependency ratio means that working age adults are having to work and pay taxes to support a large number of elders. Both high child dependency and high old age dependency are bad for a country's economy because many people who can't work, the kids or the elders, rely on the fewer numbers of people who are working. Countries in stages 2 and 3 have high youth dependency ratios. High birth rates in those countries mean that there are a lot of children relative to working age adults. Think about Niger, where birth rates are so high. On the other hand, stage 5 countries have high elder dependency ratios because most people live to old age, but few children are being born. And a good example is Japan. Stage 4 is the sweet spot, where both child and old age dependency is low. This is the stage where total fertility rates are about 2.1, the magic number for replacement level. And a good example is the US. All right, here's some practice. Study this country's population pyramid and see if you can guess the total number of 0 to 5-year-old males, 40 to 45-year-old females, which stage of the demographic transition it's in, and the dependency ratios, high child, high old age, or neither. Pause the video. All right, here are your answers. How'd you do? Now it's time to review the objectives. If you don't know the answer to any of them, rewind the video and look again. And I'll see you in class. Bye, students.